Okay, so the last time we did math, we were doing chapter 4 and lesson 3 on page 153. So if you guys can go back to 153, we're going to go over the answers that you did for numbers 1, 2, and 3. So on the first one, I'm going to read that one out loud to you, and then we'll go over the answer. You had Olivia baked 53 mini loaves of banana bread to be sliced for snacks at a craft fair. She will place an equal number of loaves in 6 different locations. How many loaves will be at each location? So you were to first divide the quotient, or divide to find the quotient and the remainder. So on this one you have, and they give it to you already, so they set it up for you, 6 divided by 53. Okay, and then remember that they had 2 blue boxes up here. Just make sure. I got new markers, so I am super excited about that. It's my one thing that I love, are new markers. Okay, so 6 divided into 53. So if you remember back before we went on break, I was telling you that you needed to make sure that you show the multiples of this number first, right? You needed to list those multiples first to find out what comes close to 53 but does not go over 53. So we're going to go ahead and list those multiples really quick. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. Okay, so your first one is going to be 6, 12, 18, 24, I'm running out of space, 30, 36, I gotta write small, 42, and hopefully you guys worked on your division, or your multiplication cards and division cards while you were on break. This should come a lot easier. Okay, so if you notice, our number 53 falls right in between 48 and 54. Okay, so we are going to just write that right here, right? 53. Okay, so we want the one that comes closer to it but does not go over it. So 54 would go over it, so we are going to take 8. Okay, so 8 is going to be the answer here. Now 8 times 6, right? We're going to put this multiplication. 6 times 8 is 48. And remember, we divide, multiply, which we just did, right, to get this number, subtract, and then we bring down. So we're not there yet. We're going to come there in a second. What subtracts? So 53 minus 48. So we have 13 minus 8, which is 5. There is nothing else left to bring down. So at this point, 5 becomes our remainder. Okay, so now we have 5 as the remainder. So if she's doing it, we wanted to know how many loaves will be at each location. So you always need to go back to the question. How many loaves will be at each location? So our answer was 8, remainder 5. And then if we wanted to put that fraction form, we can put 5 over 6. Remember, the fraction, or the bottom number, comes from the one that we originally divided by. Decide how to use the quotient. So this was A, right? So that should have been our answer for A. And then B was decide how to use the quotient and remainder to answer the question. Well, all you would do is take this and say 8 and 5, 6 loaves will be at each location. And that should have been your answer. Okay, now on interpret, I'm going to erase this. And remember, you guys can pause if you need to, okay? Now on the interpret the remainder to solve on number 2. What if Olivia wants to put only whole loaves? That means full loaves, right? So let me show you an example real quick. So give me 1 second. So right now Olivia has 8, so this is a full loaf of bread, right? So if Olivia had 8 and 5, 6 of the loaves, this 5, 6 is not a full loaf, right? So what we would want is only the whole loaves, which are 8. Okay, so that's how you would figure out number 2. How many whole loaves will be at each location? There will be 8. how many loaves will be, and then number 3 is going to be Ed carves 22 small wooden animals to sell at a craft fair. He displays them in rows with 4 animals in a row. How many animals will not be in equal rows? Okay, so we have the number 22, right? And that's our big number here, so that's going to go inside the box because we're splitting this guy up, right? We're splitting the small wooden animals up into 4 rows. And we need to know how many animals will not be in equal rows. That question right there we'll get to in a second, okay? We're going to go over that. So since we are dividing 4 into 22, we need to list the multiples of 4, right? And I'm going to put a box here with the remainder in a box here. So 4 goes into 22 because we're dividing 22 into 4 rows. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since I know my multiplication tables, I'm not going to go farther than 6. Okay, so 4 times 1 is 4. Then we have, 8, 12, one ahead of myself, 16, 20, 24. Okay, where does 22 fall in between? It falls in between 20 and 24. So we want the number that is going to go close to 22, but not over 22. So we're going to take 5 times 4, right? And that will get us 20. Okay, so I'm going to, the cool thing about this is it has an eraser. I'm super excited. Okay, so now we have 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. So we divided, right? Here we divided 4 into 22, which is going to be 5. We're multiplying now. 4 times 5 is 20. And now we're going to subtract. 22 minus 20, yeah, that's pretty easy, right? This cancels out. 2 minus 2 is 0. 2 minus 0 is 2. Is there anything else to bring down? So if there was, we would bring it down at that point. Since there isn't, we are done with our problem. This is going to be the remainder. So the remainder is 2. Now, Ed carves 22 small wooden animals to sell at each craft fair. He displays them in rows with 4 animals in a row. How many animals will not be in equal rows? So here's the deal. You want to know how many animals will be in a row first. Okay, this is why. Because the ones that are left over, those are the ones that will not be in equal rows. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, right? There would be 5 rows because our answer was 5 remainder 2. And each of those will have 4 in them. So 2, 3, 4. So here we go. Each of them will have 4 in them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to keep going. Now on this last 2, we have a 6th row, right? But it's not an even row, so it's not equal to the other rows. So these extra 2 that were the remainder are the ones that are not equal in, or not in equal rows. So it should have been 2. And you can go back over that problem. The problem is that you guys have to really pay attention to the wording here. So I would always underline the question and really think about what they're asking you first. Especially on division problems. You guys are just getting used to division, much less having to make sure you know how to do word problems. Your next assignment is going to be on page 153. And you are going to do numbers 4 through 6 just to get used to it. Okay, so now on 4 through 6, let's review those really fast. You're interpreting the remainder to solve, right? So we're doing the same thing we did up here. We're having to interpret what information we get as an answer. So you have Myra has a 17-foot roll of crepe paper to make 8 streamers to decorate for a party. So she's got a huge roll of crepe paper. And if you don't know what crepe paper, it's that stuff that you hang like in rows. And it just brings a fancy design to your party. To make 8 streamers to decorate for her party. All right, so she needs 8 streamers. 8 out of that 17, she needs to make 8 hanging streamers for her party. Okay, so imagine you have a patio and you're hanging 8 streamers across, and you gotta figure out what the dimensions are gonna be for each streamer. How long will each streamer be if she cuts the roll into equal pieces? So she needs to take this streamer 17 feet and she needs to cut it into 8 equal pieces. We don't know how long each of those streamers are going to be. So that's what we need to find out. How long will each streamer be? And it needs to be in equal pieces. So with the remainder, here's the question you need to ask yourself. Will she use the remainder? Okay, so I guess I'll find that out when you guys actually show me your answer, okay? Will she use the remainder? And if so, you need to show me how she's going to use it. Maybe she doesn't use the remainder, but you need to figure it out. Number 5, Juan has a piano recital next month. Last week, he practiced for 8 hours, okay, in the morning and 7 hours in the afternoon. Each practice session is 2 hours long. How many full practice sessions did Juan complete? So let's read that over again. Juan has a piano recital next month. Do we need that information? Nope, not at all. So I would cross that out, okay? Because that's not telling us how many full practice sessions he completed for the week. Last week, he practiced 8 hours in the morning total, right, for the whole week. And remember, how many days are in a week? And then 7 hours in the afternoon. So total, how many hours did he practice? That's what you have to figure out for the whole week. So morning and afternoon combined, how many hours did he practice for that entire week? Every practice is 2 hours long. How many full practice sessions did Juan complete? So now you have to figure out a couple of different things, okay? And I will write these out for you. So the first, it's a little bit of a 3-part problem on this one. So how many hours did he complete in 1 week total? Okay, that's one thing you need to do. And find the answer for that, and then we're going to move on. How many days are in a week? You should know that one off the top of your head. And then step 3 is going to be well, let's take this one off really fast. I'm sorry. Sorry if you were writing that down, but let's erase that one. We're going to say, how long was each practice? So I don't want to confuse you guys. I was going to give you guys 3 questions. How long was each practice? Okay. Now from these 2 questions, you need to do step 3, which is set up a problem. Set up a problem with the 2 numbers that you come up from these 2 questions. And then the last step is going to be, just make sure you can still see it. So step number 4, I'm going to write it up here. So if you don't have these, you might want to pause, and then you can copy step 4 now. So step number 4 is going to be how many full, so your answer from your problem that you make up should answer this question. How many full practice sessions? Full practice sessions. So you are not paying attention to the remainder in this one. Did Juan complete? Okay, so then that will be for number 5. Number 6, a total of 25 students sign up to be hosts on Parents' Night. 25 students, they're going to be hosts. Teams of 3 students greet parents. How many students cannot be a team? Okay, we're looking for full amounts on this one. So you will not be paying attention to the remainder. Whenever something says full, okay, not equal, whole, we're looking for everything, the answer without the remainder. Okay, so these are key words to remember when you're doing division problems. You're looking for the answer, but without the remainder, okay? So on this one, our key word is going to be team. Okay, so we're making a full team. So how many full teams can we make here? All right, so there's how many students? You gotta ask yourself, how many students? How many students in a team? Okay, so you have how many students per team, and how many teams. So how many teams are going to be the answer that you get? So if you're doing a division problem like 4 divided by 22 like we just did, right? Then our answer here, which was 5 remainder 2, this part would be the amount of teams. This part would be the amount of students that did not get on a team. Okay, so that's how we're interpreting this remainder. So how many students are on teams? That would be 5, right? But how many students did not get on a team? That would be 2. That would be if we used this amount. You have different amounts on here. It's 25 and 3 students per team. So you're going to have to figure out how to answer these 2 questions first. And what you do on number 3 is you have to make a problem. Okay, and the remainder on this problem is going to be the answer to your question. So remainder will equal your answer. Okay, I know this is hard for me doing it on the word problems on here, but try your best, guys. If you can't figure it out, no big deal. Try your best and get your answer at least, and then we can go from there. Okay, I hope this helps out. I will, once again, write, so if you need to, you can pause this so that you can write this down, but once again, I'm going to write your assignment down and just go ahead and post it tonight, sometime before tomorrow. Okay, so it's page 153. It's chapter 4, lesson 3, and it's numbers 4 through 6. All right, have a good day.